Pot, it's Jem here. Thank you for joining me, YouTube. I hope you are well. I've just realised that I say that the same way every time, so I might mix it up next time and say hello and welcome to the Little Blue Pot. I don't know, what are your thoughts? Enough of that. So I'm going to be talking about CBT techniques for depression and anxiety. I'm going to go through 5 in this video. Just want to say I'm going to do a tiny introduction to what CBT is, but please check out my What is CBT video. I think it's called that. The link for that is in the description. Cognitive Behavioural Therapy, or CBT, can help you outthink negative patterns that may be keeping you depressed or anxious and stopping you from enjoying life. Negative thinking can slow down depression, anxiety recovery, and the reason is obvious. If you think negative thoughts, you're more likely to stay depressed or anxious. CBT can help you spot when you are going into that negative thought spiral and teaches you coping skills to help deal with the thoughts, feelings and behaviours that are making you depressed or anxious. So I'm going to go through 5 techniques that will help depression and anxiety recovery, and information about where I've taken them from, which I think is Everyday Health, is in the description below. So number 1, papers as always. Locate the problem and brainstorm the solution. So writing down your problems, thoughts, feelings, or talking to your therapist about them can help you discover the root of your depression and anxiety. Now I do this sometimes. I'm trying to do it more, but it's quite hard to do because sometimes writing them all out brings them all to the surface. But actually, bringing them to the surface is probably better than having them going around your head. So you may be experiencing rumination or worry. Rumination meaning dwelling on the past, and worrying, being anxious about the future. So writing them down can help you get to the root of the problem and brainstorm some solutions. So once you have an idea, write down a simple sentence of exactly what's bothering you and the ways to improve the problem. Writing down a list of things you can do to improve the situation can ease depressive or anxious feelings. Perhaps the root of your depression comes from loneliness. So you've done your brainstorming, you've written down your simple sentence. So your sentence could be I feel lonely or I am lonely. Now you can have that in a sort of circle and draw lots of lines coming off it, and each line has something that you could do. So some of the examples could it be joining a local club, so something that's of your interest that you can get into. So perhaps if you're interested in crafts, art and crafts, find a local group that you can do arts and crafts. Maybe your interest is sport, so you could find maybe a local football team or cricket team. Sometimes it's not that easy to work through the actual solution. It can take a long time, so I would suggest putting it into small steps, so that you are able to take it slow, so you don't have to suddenly be like, I'm going to join a club. If you're feeling lonely to start with, but you're not perhaps going out of the house, one of your solutions could be to go walking around the block to build up your confidence of going outside the house, or even sort of saying to a friend, could we meet up somewhere, someone that maybe you haven't seen in a long time, or a relative. If you are completely isolated, then the clubs will be a really, really good thing for you to do. But again, it's about brainstorming the solutions. If you put everything down on a piece of paper, it suddenly feels less and less intense in your head. Not always easy, but something that you can do. And if you can talk to someone about them, that would be amazing too. So brainstorming allows the thoughts to go on paper rather than going around in your head. You could be less likely to ruminate or worry when they are clear in front of you. So that's number 1, locate the problem and brainstorm the solution. Number 2, write self-statements to counteract negative thoughts. So after locating the root of your problem, for example with anxiety, think of the negative thoughts you use to dampen the positive ones. So some of the negative thoughts would be I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I am never going to be able to deal with my anxiety. I'm never going to be able to manage my life the way I want it to live. And these, where I want it to live, I'm never going to be able to manage my life in the way I want to. So these don't allow for positive statements. These only focus on the negative. And if we're constantly thinking negative, as I said earlier on, we're going to feel negative. What we think and what we feel in our behaviour is all linked together. I've talk about that in CBT part 1. So write a self-statement to counteract each negative thought. Remember your self-statements and repeat them back to yourself when you notice that little voice creeping into your head that will push away all the positives. However, self-statements shouldn't be too far from the negative thought, or the mind won't accept it. May not accept it. Perhaps you might say something like, I will always be anxious and never get my life back. So rather than saying I'm free from anxiety, which is a huge thing to say, it's very positive, but sometimes that can the mind will be like, well, I'm not free from anxiety, so that's absolute rubbish. So you could say, I may be anxious now, but it won't last forever. So you're accepting your anxiety, but also putting a positive spin on it, saying it won't last forever because nothing is permanent. So you could say, I may be anxious now, but it won't last forever. This message tells you that it's okay to feel anxious, and your mind applauds itself for keeping joy to protect from disappointment. It's okay to recognise that part of you is doing something healthy. It's okay to be positive. When you have mental illness, depression, anxiety, it is very, very hard to be positive because you are constantly in that negative rumination, negative worry. So if you're feeling that way, it's hard to allow the positives. But if we put that twist on each on each statement that you want to say, then we are getting that positive coming through. I think I just repeated myself. Because sometimes our self-statements can be too routine. We become almost used to behaving this way, so we just continue doing it without realizing the consequences of our words that we're saying to ourselves. So we need to change them, we need to rephrase them, we need to translate them in a sense, so that we're thinking about accepting what's going on. However, we are adding that positive statement. Number 3, find new opportunities to think positive thoughts. So instead of focusing on 1 or 2 negatives in a situation, try and think of the positives. Now, this can be quite hard, quite challenging, but for example, I'm going to list 3 positives from my day so far. And it's good to do this 3 times a day, that making sure that they are positive. So we may say negative ones during the day, but actually if we focus on the positive ones and think more about those, write them down, then we are more likely to think about the positives than the negatives. So as I said, my example from my day. So today I managed to get out of bed without a problem and get dressed without a problem. Today I went out on a walk and walked 5 kilometres. And today I had a lovely chat with my mum, which made me feel really good. Rather than thinking, oh, I'm overweight, I should be walking more, I should be eating more, I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm doing my best to lose weight by exercising, I'm battling my depression by getting out of bed, and I'm able to enjoy life by spending time with my mum and enjoying a conversation with her. So rather than thinking about I'm overweight, you're thinking about the positives. Now, if you can do this 3 times a day, that is fantastic. And it could be the room you're in, it could be the conversation you've had with someone, highlights from your day, events that you've attended. You could even do this with someone else and talk about the positives with them to share in both persons' positive experiences. So you're getting positivity from each other. So perhaps this could be a work colleague, a school friend, someone you know at college, and you're talking to them and you're saying your positives, they're going to say their positives 3 times a day, and then you're getting a lot more positive energy. And if with positive energy comes a lot healthier, happier feelings, rather than ruminating and worrying. Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit lost there. So try and do that. Try and think about the 3 to 5 positive things 3 to 5 times a day, and see how that turns your thinking around. Again, it's taking the positive from a situation, not a negative. Number 4, this kind of follows on from the last one, visualizing the best parts of your day. So at the end of each day, write down or type into an online journal the things in your life you're most thankful for. Recording positive thoughts and even sharing your thoughts online can help you form new associations in your mind and create new pathways. So at the moment, you're probably used to thinking in a certain way, in a negative way. Now, by focusing on the positive, visualizing the best parts, actually visualizing them, not just necessarily writing them down, but actually picturing them in your brain, can create new pathways to more positive, healthier, happier thinking. So you could go to bed and think about the best parts of your day. So maybe, as I said before, the 3 things in my day, I can visualize them. So I can visualize me walking and getting a sweat on, listening to my music, thinking, oh, this walk's really long, this walk's really hard, but I'm going to do it. And that's my visualization, and I can almost sit there and feel proud of myself. No, I don't almost. I can feel proud of myself, because it's more than I was doing a week ago, and it's a journey onto improving myself overall. The second one, what was it? Getting out of bed. Now, I can picture myself, visualize myself getting out of bed and thinking, I did it. I got out of bed, I got dressed, I got showered, not in that order obviously, and now I'm feeling positive. And if I visualize that, then I'm focusing on another positive rather than a negative. And as I said earlier on, if we're focusing on the negatives, we're not allowing for the positives. Therefore, we can't think positively. Therefore, we're not going to be happy and content with what's going on in the present moment. And someone who creates, sorry, apologies there. I'm a bit all over the place today. Someone who's created a new pathway of thinking might go from waking up in the morning thinking, ugh, another work day, to what a beautiful day it is. Now, that to me, this is from my research, seems quite a jump between the two. So, and this doesn't happen overnight. It's like anything, when you're trying to recover, it's practice, it's understanding, it's learning. The more you practice positive visualization, the less likely you are to be thinking about the negative. So it takes time, it takes practice. You're not automatically going to wake up tomorrow and say, what a beautiful day it is. But you could look out the window in the morning and say, today is going to be a good day, or today is going to be challenging, but I can get through it. I've got that meeting, I've got that exam, and I do have that, but I know I can do it. I've done it before, and today can be a good day. So here's some more examples of things that you can visualize at the end of the day. I went out for a walk today, which lifted my mood. I saw my family today and cherished them all. I kept a mood journal and was proud of myself for doing it. So you can picture yourself, or you can even write in your mood journal that you've managed to achieve these things and you've managed to visualize each thing. I met up with a friend for anxiety. I met up with a friend in a crowded place but managed my anxiety. So you could think, you could visualize yourself in that place, in that crowded place, and say to yourself, I did it, I did it. Focusing on these positives is really, really important. Hard, but really important. Another one for anxiety, I was anxious about my project being finished, but I managed to finish it in time. So you can visualize this. Think about what you had to go through. Think about the steps that you had to go through. Think about that feeling. Relive that feeling of achievement that you've done that thing. Visualization. Because if we're thinking about it and we're visualizing it, it becomes, I guess, more real. And it's a reminder. It's a gentle reminder to say, look what I've done today. I'm proud of myself, and I can live with this illness. I can live with depression and anxiety. So number 5, learn to accept disappointment as a normal part of life. Now, I battle with this a lot. In fact, I battle with all of these, and I'm going to be doing my best to try and do these, to try and implement them, to try and be thinking more positively than negatively. But it's really hard to do, and a lot of these things are going to be hard, but it takes practice. So sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. Disappointing situations are a part of life, and your response can affect how quickly you can move forward. So for me, I've put on weight because of my medications and because of my own lifestyle choices. So drinking too much, eating too much. My meds increase appetite, so they have made me want to eat more. They have made me more hungry. Being hungry all the time is quite draining, and I've got to a point now where I feel so overweight and disgusting that I'm constantly saying negative things to myself. So it was disappointing. It has been disappointing that I put on weight, especially when it took me 2 years to get down to a healthy weight. And in 4 to 6 months, I've put on 2 stone. So that has really disappointed me, really messed me up. But I've got to accept the fact that it's happened. Not always easy, but if I sort of think about what I can do in order to prevent any more weight gain and hopefully to help me lose weight or just to be healthier, then there's a good way. There's a few steps that I'm going to go through in a second. So for me, I've put on lots of weight from my meds over the past few months, which is hugely disappointing. So I might think, what's the point of trying to look nice when I'm so fat? Very negative, very, self-sabotaging, not a great thought to have. So a better approach might be to allow yourself to feel disappointed and remember that some things are out of your control, like a tickly throat. So what's within my control? I can do my best to eat healthy and try and exercise to lose weight or be healthier. I can accept the fact that I have put on weight, but some of it is out of my control. It's about thinking about, so not just about learning to accept disappointment, but thinking about what's in control and what's not in your control. Really important to do this, because the more things we try and control that are out of our control, the more frustrated we're going to be, and the more things we don't control that are in our control, the more disappointed we're going to be. So it's really hard, but here's some ideas as to what you can do. Try to write down what happened, what you learned from the experience, and what you can do differently next time. I don't know why I do this so much. I'd love to have a body language expert talk about my body language, because it'd be interesting. So sorry. Try and write down what happened, what you learned from the experience, and what you can do differently next time. Watching out for overly negative thoughts. This can help you to move on and feel better about your future. So think about what happened. So what's happened? I've gained a lot of weight because of my meds and drinking too much and eating too much. What I learned. The exercise and a healthy diet can help to prevent weight gain, but the main thing is to choose healthy options and cut down on my drinking. And the fact that, meds do cause weight gain, and some of that isn't in my control, some of it is in my control. Finally, what can I do differently? Although the weight gain was because of the meds, I can't help that. What I can do is make a food journal to track my intake of food and booze to help me regain control of my weight and hopefully start to have a more balanced diet to be healthy. So can you guys do any of these? I'm not saying you can't, it's possible to do these things, but are these things that you can try? Are these things that you've heard of before and the refresher has been really helpful? Or are these things that you think, well, they're all really hard and I don't think I can do them? Well, you can do them. It just takes time and small steps. Let me know your thoughts. Please comment. Please have any questions. Please tell me if you liked the video. Please tell me if you didn't like the video. And please let me know how you're going to try applying these to your life so that you're thinking more about the positive and less about the negative, which we can all, start to do when we suffer from depression and anxiety. But the more we are thinking and feeling a certain way, the more we're going to be behaving in a negative way. So negative versus the positive, focusing on the positive allows us to feel more positive and healthy and happier and live a more positive life. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you next time. Take care.